now I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go to share my screen. I'm going to pick that, share that. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I already like I spent a little time looking at this project already. So are you ready? Okay. All right. So here's your first floor plan. Yeah. And oh, that's your second floor plan. And I'm going to give you a little bit of feedback. The main thing I wanted that you're missing here, you've got a lot of stuff that you've done well in, but really what you need is a lobby because you need a place for people to enter the building. This could be a separate little building that's attached on to the end. And what ends up happening is you can have some doors there, you can have some doors here. And I'm going to say that you could do a stair here, okay? I'm going to explain this how this works on the second floor. And mhm. No, you need like an actual space about that big. Um, so that'll help. So that lobby will be what we call a two-story space, which means it's one floor, but it's open to above, and I'll explain how that works in a minute. The other thing, have you met with Rebecca at all? Rebecca Parrish? Okay. Okay. Can you, I want you to get your driveway, your drives in. She can show you how to put these in pretty easily. So you'll have your plan looking okay. Now, what's interesting is this is like a green, this is like a public green space. So people are going to walk down this way and in here. So you probably have like a sidewalk like this, and you're probably going to have all of this area paved with hardscape, meaning this is how people are going to walk to and from your building. So if I park my car here, I can just kind of walk across hardscape, paving. This can be all green or whatever. Now this is where you're going to put your farmer's market. So you're going to have like stalls probably between these, maybe something like that. And then what I would do is have a road coming through and a road coming out. So these buses, I know you couldn't find a bus, that's fine, don't worry about that. So the bus can come in this way and go out that way, okay? Or this way. So put a road in here like that so it looks like they can move through. Now the other big thing is you want to do is you want to define the areas where the fences are. So if I can go down and just change my color here. Is this making sense so far to you? Okay, so this is a fence, alright? This is fence. This is all fence. Oops. And, oh, what happened to my pen? I lost my, oh. And this is all fence down here. So the idea is all of this area where you see my mouse is safe area for kids. Alright, and then up here is more open space. This is paving right here. What happened to my pen? Why does it do that? So this is like, oh, come on now. Let me draw. Why won't you let me draw? Pen. Okay. So people can walk here. This is really the fence here, right? So typically you'd have a fence, but that fence can open up and be really open in the morning if kids want to walk in and out. So you can open and close that. But you also will have a doorway here to your lobby so they can get in and out that way. And that's like, so I think when I draw that fence in there, I feel a lot better about your project because I feel like there's a boundary where kids are safe, And I think having a lobby is going to be pretty critical for you. So, and a staircase. Okay, so that's that floor. Does that all make sense to you? And you're not going to have a fence. You won't have a fence here because you want this to be open to the community. My only thought, well, I did have a thought, is that your farmer's market might do better over here on the corner just for location. I mean, it's only words right now, so it's not like a lot of work to change that. On the second floor, oh, and there's one other thing too. So the way auditoriums work, you wouldn't have a door there. This is where your temporary stage would be, okay? And people would walk in this way and they would set chairs up like this. So you would have those doors, and then I might put in another set of doors here. Just open this up a little bit more. I know those are your stairs, so you don't want to block those. Okay, does that all make sense? Good. I don't want to try to give you too much to change because, well, you want to get done. So now on the second floor, all I'm doing is picking up things that really need to be picked up. So here's the same staircase that I drew before. Do you remember that? And so this is what we call open to below. So if I'm standing here, I can look down into there, and then there's a little bridge here. Okay, so when I come up the steps this way, I come up like that, and all of a sudden I'm up on this level. So just get rid of that. Does that make sense? Do you see what I'm doing there? Or do you need me to explain that better? I'm good. Mm-hmm. Yep, I do. And then I want, so this is like a little bridge overlook. So if I stand right here, I can look down into the lobby. And I get, and this stairs is at the bottom. This is the bottom of the stairs. This is the top of the stairs. Sorry, it's a little hard to see. All right, so I think that'll help a lot. And then and so that you'll see this. So this will be a two-story space, but only one story is really usable on the ground level. Um, Now, does your building have a basement at all? Okay, so your mechanical room typically would not be on the second floor. Did you have a reason for putting it there? That's fine. Okay. Well, what I would do is, and again, I'm trying not to make too many changes here. Um, you probably would just have a little basement, is what you probably would do. The other thing you need, did you put an elevator in here? Okay. Let's just not worry about that right now. Um, Go ahead. You mean, like over here? You could. And so what would happen then on the second floor is you have the bridge here to the overlook, we would call it. So this is your elevator. You would get off here and come that way. Again, I'm trying not to like be too harsh on you. So um, is that Revit's really proving to be an obstacle, right? Oh, 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 that's not good. I see. Okay, because you had the Revit course in the summer, right? I see. Okay, I understand. So so what I would do is I'm going to save this PowerPoint and put it into your assignment three discussion board post so you can show this to Rebecca. So you can, when you talk to her, you can say you want to get these roads in, you want to get some of these fences. Fences you can do. Actually, you can do most of this. So, but she certainly is around to be able to help you. Um, so I would call this. I wouldn't necessarily call this a cafeteria because you really don't have a kitchen. I would call it a lunchroom. I would call it a multi-purpose. I call it a multi-purpose room um, because once you say cafeteria, people expect to see a kitchen, and having a kitchen on the second floor is a little tricky. So um, now, is your bathroom stacked or not? Nope. You probably should flip these two. Well, typically this bathroom would go on top of this bathroom so that the plumbing is vertical. So that might, if it's easy to change, change it. If it's not easy to change, don't worry about it, okay? I couldn't find, you got your semi trucks. These are a little long. These are a little longer, but I think it's fine. Um, so I can see what you're doing here, which is great, and there. So there'll be some changes in this area. Now, why are the materials so dark? When you pick your materials, is there a way to pick a lighter material? Oh, okay, okay, I understand. Okay, all right. So you put smaller one, good. Okay, great. All right. So when you do your south view, you want to delete, not show your trees. So when you take the view again, just take the tree, delete the trees, don't save it. Delete the trees, do the rendering, and then don't save the file and just reopen it with the trees in there. Does that make sense to you? When you render? So when you render, you want to, I think you can turn the layer off that the trees are on. So whatever layer these are on, turn that off. And then what happens is, because we want to see the building and see how you did your windows, not really worrying too much about the trees in this particular case. So like I want to see what's going on behind that tree right there and behind here. Right? Okay. Same thing with this. So when you do this view, you'll take out the trucks and the trees so we can see what you're doing there. And then east view. East view is looking from, what am I looking, which view is? I like your art music garden, by the way. So you can show those in your aerial views. Is this the view, east view is looking from Kelly Drive, or, yeah, Kelly, right? Sort of? Okay. Oh, so this is the same plan again. Oh, this is your, oh, this is where your sections are cut. So when you put your lobby in, you see, when you put that lobby in, it's going to make your section cuts. Oh, same thing with the sections. You want to take the trees out that are in the front. So where's this? This one's cut. You're shading the building. That's good. So that's good. So these doors are facing, is that the auditorium? Yeah, okay. I know where I'm looking. Okay, so your main entry is over here somewhere, right? Okay, all right. Right, so what's that? Is that your bike rack? What's that right there? This is the auditorium. So the main entry, so if you have your lobby, like this two-story space, it would look something like that. And it could be all glass. I don't know if you know how to build that. You can ask Rebecca. She'll tell you how to make that out of glass. Um, mhm. So, yeah, this one's what? Yeah, no, I get that. This is the auditorium, right? That's the lunchroom. Is that right? So these are doorways to the classrooms, yeah? Okay. So, this one's a good one. So this is south on this side. So typically you want to get that cut through a window. Do you know what I mean? So you can see where, oh, can you hold on 1 second? My wife's calling. Hey, everything okay? Okay, did you come close to getting arrested? Oh, okay. All right. Okay. I have a student on the line, so that's okay. I just want to make sure you didn't get arrested. Okay. Bye. Okay, I'm back. That was my wife went to like a protest vigil or a vigil for the Ferguson thing. So she was joking when she did not get arrested, Trev. Don't worry. So what you want to do is, this is where you're going to meet some of the performance goals. So when you do this, here's where you might do something like, so I don't know how like exhausted you are, how much more you want to do on this project, but I'll just show you for teaching purposes and then you can decide what you want to do. So what I'm doing is I'm giving you a blow up of that. So this is a side view. Oh, this is not working so well. So this is a shading element and this is a shelf and that's a window and that's oh my god, my tablet's falling apart. My tablet is falling apart. So here's a person. Oh my god, my tablet. What the heck? So here's a person looking out. My whole tablet's being crooked. So here's the sun, right? So the sun can come in like this, hit this shelf here, go off the ceiling, and back into the room. Or the sun can come and hit this and be shadowed down, you see. On your south side, this is what you want to do. So this is sort of, I can send you a picture of what this actually looks like tonight, so it's not a mystery. But this is called a light shell. Go ahead. Yeah. So that's called a light shelf, and this is more of a shading element. So these are little fins that direct sunlight down along the face of the building and actually create a glow right here, which is very nice. And this is your clear story. See, this window right here is your clear story. So that window is letting light deep into the building, and this window is really your view. Okay? So this is what you would expect to see here on a south facade. That would be a typical response from that. Now also I noticed these lines are your cut lines, right? These should be invisible. And if you don't know how to make them visible, I guarantee you Rebecca will. Right. So you want to ask her about that because it's confusing because I keep thinking this is part of the building, but it's really not. So I want to make sure, and then just so that I know because the building really stops here. So that's cool. So that's the hallway, right? That's the other hallway. That's good. And these are some classrooms here too, right? Now the only thing about your north, I agree with you on your north. However, those are classrooms on the north. And oh no, those are pretty big. You're all right. Never mind. I thought they were smaller than that. Oops. Okay, so yeah. So what's going to happen is now, have you brought a Revit file into Safari yet? Have you tried to do that? Green Building Studio? Oh, okay. Okay, well that's fine. You're allowed to use Green Building Studio. It doesn't bother me. So what you want to do is once you make these changes, you want to bring this into Green Building Studio and do like a non-sustainable version of it and then a sustainable version of it, where you put in all the bells and whistles, and we can do that together live if you want. Next Tuesday night we could do that. I'm not really familiar with Green Building Studio, but I know I can talk you through the settings that you would choose for a sustainable project. Would that be helpful? Okay. Oh, right. Well, listen. So here's the thing. Oh, I see. Hmm. Maybe no, no. Hold on. Maybe me, you, and Rebecca will do it together because I'm not really good at Revit. So um, let me stop my recording. Hey Kylie, this is Rob Fleming here with your latest set of drawings. I see a lot of things that you've done to improve your project. You've put a lot of work into this. You should be very happy and proud. I'm going to make some suggestions here. Some you should do and some you don't have to do. It's just for learning purposes. Excuse me. So when I look at your building and your plan, I see that most of your work left is really in terms of the site, and I think you already know that. So I'm going to look at some of the different opportunities that you have out here and try to help you with that. You could reach out to Lois by email once you've come up with some drawings, or you could look online and see how different things can be drawn or shown for landscape. So the first thing I think of is right in here. I wonder, could this be a place to get some vegetation in on the front of your building? And excuse me, or trees. Now this is the north side, so I probably wouldn't do trees. I would probably do low vegetation here. There could be some benches put into that, which would be great. And my tablet's being a little weird on me. Excuse me. And so as people get off the bus here, right, they're going to be able to walk across here and enter the building that way. And just a couple other little things here. I think I see why you did that. This is your elevator. You probably want to get an X there. In terms of the outdoor classrooms like to have a solid back, and I'm not sure that's, I think you have that as glass, so that would want to be a solid part of your wall in order for that to work. And I assume these are benches. I would draw this more like an amphitheater. And what you can do is you can actually depress, you can make this a lower area that you have to take steps to get down into, and then there's a level area here for wheelchairs, and then maybe this kind of steps up a little bit. I'm not quite sure. And with the trees and all, I think you need to be more direct about how you're doing your landscape. So for example, you can have planters, you can have places where people aren't going to be walking, and this is your admin office. So to me, this is all trees all along here, and it is blocking a bit of the north light. So
it's either trees or it's going to be low vegetation. But all of a sudden, your garden area, and then this tree is a little bit. I think you need one big old. You can buy trees that are bigger, and really sets the tone for the courtyard, which is like the big oak tree that people can sit under. And all of a sudden you have the beginnings of a real courtyard that people would want to use and hang out in and play in. So I would use these like this. You can do collections of different sizes to represent the plantings that you might see there. I know I told you to put the door there, so obviously you don't want to put trees up too further there. But I actually would make all of these doors so that there's more of an interaction between inside and outside. If you look at your rubrics for the grading, you might want to consider that. I don't know if you're going to get a chance to lay out the admin area, but if there is a lounge in there, the lounge should also have a way to get in and out of this courtyard. That would be great. And then we look over here at the, I don't really think you're doing a retention pond. You're going to be doing a rain garden, and this tablet doesn't let me write very well, but a rain garden could be a depressed planted area that could signify the separation between this, which is your outdoor dining pavilion, and if that really is dining, that might have a hardscape surface to it. You'd have to decide. And maybe doesn't have grass here. And then you have your rain garden, which is, and you can look these up online, there's plenty of documentation. And you can begin to think about the rainwater coming off the roof and finding its way into here. You have a lot of roof, and you have some green roof, so you may end up having to have a pond, but we try to do these with rain gardens so that the water goes right into the planted areas. Now, not quite sure what these lines are. That's a little confusing. It says, solar panels on facade. So the way I would do that is do it more like this and just have a arrow. You don't need to label that everywhere, because I'll see that in the three-dimensional drawings, I assume. When you do your presentation drawings, you don't need to put these guys on here, and you actually don't even need to put that on there. Just because you want people to read everything pretty clearly and understand what that is. Now, I know that there is a buffer zone, a landscape buffer zone, which you really want to put some time into and start to really trees and bushes and habitat and such all along the edge here and even along the edge here. This looks like you've got a fence here, and you're also going to want to get a fence all the way across this, and I think you do have that actually, and all the way up this way, right? So the fenced area, there's an area that is controlled, a boundary where people can know that they can be safe in the building. Sorry for a little bit of a cold. Let's see, what else is looking funky? Everything else, I mean, you put a lot of work into this. I think it's pretty amazing what you've done, actually. You should be pretty happy. A couple little things you don't have to change. I would just go ahead and shrink that office down there and just have a nice clear throughway for that. Try to take any jogs out of the building that we can. And the kindergarten play area outdoor learning center is good. And again, there might be another rain garden here with a bridge. So there's a bridge there, and then there's a bridge here. So rain gardens are typically depressed areas with a lot of plants in them that love water. And so what you can begin to do is you can have your bridge across, and you can have your bridge across. So you use the rain gardens to create separation between different kinds of spaces. And to me, all of this down in this corner is the low part of the site. This is your habitat, your rain garden. This is where, you know, the kids really can get muddy and play and or interact with nature in a different way. And then this is all your grass, as you have here, green space. And then, yeah, so that line's confusing. You want to get rid of that line because this is all green space. If I'm clear. Now, as far as your rainwater collection, one of the things that we talked about was big cisterns, and we identified this spot as a place to collect water. This could be a big old cistern, maybe 20 feet high, and we also located another spot. Could be right there. I don't know. When I'm done with this PowerPoint, I'm going to show you Germantown Friends School and some of the things that they did for their cisterning. And who knows, maybe there's a big old cistern right out here on the front of the building. Now, typically we try to get these associated with the bathroom locations, but so that would mean actually that you would want one somewhere in this zone, right? And this is kind of a dead zone anyway. You've got to have a door here to get out, but typically there's really nothing happening. Now, you don't have to do big cisterns that are exposed like this. You can do basement storage. I don't think you have a basement, so this is typically how you would do it. And I think that all of these things, when you add these into your drawing, it starts to make your building look a little bit more grounded and part of the actual site. The other part is, in terms of landscape, is you've got these lines here. So you're going to have some sort of paving here. This is not going to be planted. So one thing you want to start to do is, and you could talk to Rebecca about this, is how do you show paving, a paved area that people can walk on. And what I would do is I would have one type of paving here. Oh, geez, excuse me. Well, I'm just going to leave it because I want to keep going. But I'm going to have, so this would be paving along here, right? So this is all paved. And then I might have a different kind of material here that's paved in a finer grid or such. So that's something that you want to think about. All of a sudden now your building starts to look less like an object. Right now your building looks like an object floating in the site as opposed to grounded in the site. So this is your opportunity to begin to do that. And way more plants is pretty critical here. So, you know, if I'm in kindergarten, I want to have a really beautiful, lively edge here. And then, yeah, I probably do want one big old tree right there that I can kind of hang on. That's the south side, so the sun's coming this way. And trees do create microclimates, by the way. So that's one way to, you know, and as you hear me talk about this, you should look at the rubrics and the requirements for Assignment 5. There's a lot of language in there about what you're going to do. Now, on the second floor, just looking around here, just trying to see if there's anything that I noticed that looks funky, and pretty much not. I think that all looks good. Usually we would write open to below or and something like that. And yes, you would show, typically you would show the roof, or you would show what's over in this area here. I'm not quite sure why there's not, I guess that's just a one story there. I'll see you in your 3D model, but typically you would show the roof, and you would show, I would show all the site information in light lines as opposed to dark lines. That might be a bit much to ask in Revit at this point. Now on your third floor you have this great outdoor playground, and I see that sorry about that, I see that you have your fences up there. If you're going to be growing vegetables, right, I think you should do some food growing. You know, you might want to consider organizing your roof garden a certain way so that it can be used in different ways. So that the food growth is either here or it could be over in this corner, although I worry about shadow. And then you might have another outdoor classroom that maybe is here with a backstop there, something solid that they can draw on. And you come out here and you can come outside for class. You know, maybe this then becomes the play area that's pretty clear. You could even get a football game going on up there because you have this long rectangle. You could even put, so this is all grass, I'm assuming. This could be all vegetables, and this could be a hardscape or it could be grass with rocks to sit on. I mean, that's the other thing that you could start to look at is boulders that are shaped in ways that kids can sit on it, and that would give you some of your biophilic opportunities there. And that's that big tree. I just put that tree back in there so you know, you get a sense of, you always feel what those are down in there. Now, if you're serious about growing vegetables, then what you want to do is you want to have a storage shed or some sort of, you have a storage shed. So these storage sheds can be used for growing vegetables. Now, I'm tempted to put the vegetables here, however, this guy is going to cast a shadow for a lot of the day, so you have to be careful about that. But I think that you know, I think the roof garden is the whole roof concept here is a good idea to give more outdoor space to the students. Now, one of the things that's interesting, first of all, great job on the Revit modeling. I see that you're working on your shading, and I see that you've got some curtain walls going here, which is great. I'm going to take a little look at this from different angles, and one thing I would love to see is a little bit more of a top view so I can see down into your courtyard. This is sort of pretty low in the sky right now, and I can't get a true sense of what's going on here. Right now, I just want to see your front door. Okay, so here's your front. And I think you did do the brick area, which is what we talked about. I think these are metal panels, I bet, and I was wondering why that didn't wrap around and hit this brick so that that's all one vocabulary of architecture. And then what I was thinking is, I mean, I see what you're doing here with the fence, which you need. I was wondering if there's a way to do that in a little bit more creativity where, and by the way, you don't have to do, I mean, we're almost at the end of the semester. I'm just giving you learning options. If these are too hard to do, I wouldn't feel too stressed. But I would give this, I don't know, you don't really have a column grid in your building yet, but you might give this fence a little hierarchy by putting some posts in and breaking up. And then maybe, you know, you've got your, if you take my way, you're going to have your vegetable gardens here. You know, maybe this fence is too tall or too dark. I'm not sure. Or maybe it's good for growing some vegetables that don't want too much sun. So I'm not sure about that. I have to think about that a little bit more. But I did want to understand why this brown sort of metalish, I think that's metal, is not coming across around there. I see you have a green roof here. This is where Photoshop can come in really handy. When you take these perspectives, you can kind of really make that look more like a meadow. I understand in Revit there's some limitations there. I do want to see that view. I'd like to see some street level views because, you know, you're showing it to me more as you would see it from an airplane, and when most people will never experience it that way. So I'd like to see, you know, what do I see as I come up towards the building, as I go down the street in the context. You guys have a 3D Revit model, so now of the site, so you can begin to put this into the site and get a sense of how it fits into the context. And I know that these roofs are showing very gray. It's important that you show a white roof for your sustainability, and of course you have your PV. I would talk to Rebecca about the easy way to change the color of that, and also the easy way to put photovoltaics on the roof to make that work. So here's the front view. This looks like it might be a living green wall. The only problem with that is you're on the north side of the building. Oh, this is really cool. So I see what you're doing here. This is great. So I would, at this point, go with a lower railing only here. Maybe not. Maybe you can't with kids. So I think the key here is to think about this. Here's an elevation of that. Maybe there's, you know, you got your wall, you got your mesh. Maybe there's little viewing panels, you know, that are small that you can kind of look out, so this thing is a little bit more open. And then I wouldn't know why you wouldn't put, to me this wants to be curtain wall and glass, so that it's really a major part of the building here that you're looking at. Now, so that's pretty good. This is your maintenance area, so this worries me a little bit from an urban perspective. You know, it's a big blank wall, and I'm not proposing, for example, that you put windows in there. But certainly, this is where we talked about putting the planter, by the way. So you can begin to add some vegetation here, which would be great. And this is actually kind of sort of vegetated. That's vegetated. That's good. This wall, you know, I don't want to say mural, but could be some sort of patterning of materials. I think what's happening is, I think I understand, you've got your south. You've got your curtain walls facing south, and then you have your other walls facing, more normal walls facing in other directions. But then I see this right here, which is facing north. So just trying to understand the logic of when you decided to use that material versus that material. So maybe we could talk about that a little bit. And maybe, like, I think that I wouldn't make this brick. I would probably make this the gray material, or maybe I would. It just seems like there's more brick there than I would expect. Let me just take another look at that. Okay, not sure. And then I think this is one of your more successful views, I believe. Now, I guess this is going to be your light shelf here and your shade, which is good. And these are your windows for viewing, which seems to make a lot of sense. But I thought that this is a stair. That would be brick. I'm a little confused there. Wouldn't that be brick like these guys right there? I think so. And then you've got something punky going on here, which doesn't make a lot of sense. And then you have your little bridge action going on here. And this is where I think, these trees are fine, but really this edge really should be completely greened up as a habitat with all different kind of plants in there. I mean, you just want to load it up now. Be careful on your file size. Once you put all these plants into Revit, you can really, 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 really slow your project down. So, and I know you have a terrace out here. We talked about a rain garden right there. We talked about a rain garden right here, I believe. We talked about some cisterns. That would be right here. And I kind of get the railings. It's looking a little institutional is my worry. And so that's just a little bit of a concern. The other thing that's kind of interesting is technically one of these stair towers has to go up to this roof. And actually, no. You have an elevator core over here. Your elevator and the stair over here. Let me go back to your plans. These guys right here need to go up to the 4th floor and get me access to the roof. Technically, you need 2 that get to the roof. But if you can just get the elevator and this up to the roof to the 4th floor, that's where all your maintenance and all such can happen there. So yeah, okay, so I see where I am. So wait, that is your, I think you had a terrace out here. I guess you had it here too. So a lot of work here, a lot of work. It's pretty impressive. I'm free on, of course, Tuesday nights. I didn't get to talk to you this Tuesday, but I'm available every Tuesday. And at this point, I'm available whenever you want to talk to me. So if you want to review this, we can do that. All right, I'm going to continue to record here and show you some of what I meant by the cisterns. And I'm going to keep those notes on there so you can have those. But if I look up GFS Science Building, and I think about what I'm doing here under images, you're going to see, so here's the cisterns right here. You can see those cisterns. Let's see, that's not what I want to see. Oh, here's some good pictures. So their courtyard, when you see trees, there's a lot of trees in there. Actually, it's even more treed up now. See how dense that is? That's the kind of foliage that you want to start to think about. When you do this, when you think about your landscape, I think you'll be a much happier person with your building once you do that. And these are pictures when it was first built. So this is all more grown. This green roof is more grown in now, and it's just got a lot more going on. And there's an example of what a curtain wall would look like. This is facing north. Your south-facing curtain walls will need some shading. And here's some of the landscape, right? So, and here's what I mean about paving. In some areas, you want to have your paved area. In other areas, you might want to have grass. That's the inside of the building. That's a different one. So I just want to give you a little sense of what what you're heading towards here with your landscape. I would see what you can do with that, because if you look at the grading and if you look at some of the things that I'm looking for in the rubrics for grading, you want to have, and I know this is a lot, by the way, you're taking on architecture, landscape architecture, and really you're not getting it into the interiors, which is fine. There's certainly plenty for you to do on this project. I hope that you're happy with it. I think it's pretty amazing. I think you've done a lot of work. And as I said before, I'm available if you need to chat with me about any of this. All right, take care, Kylie. Bye. Have a good holiday.